War is hell, and World War I was perhaps the most hellish of them all. That makes its selection as the setting for the next Battlefield game somewhat controversial. It's obviously up to you to decide how you feel about the choice of setting, but one thing's for certain, the game itself is brilliant. How do I know this? It's because I've played it. Welcome to Gamers Doing 101 review for the Battlefield 1 beta. Enjoy. Unsurprisingly, what EA gave us to try out was a 64-player conquest. In other words, an absolutely huge battle that forces the use of team tactics, thanks to the need to take and control 5 capture points on the map. Everything about the way DICE presents the pre-match is pure Battlefield, but smarter and shinier. The map immediately looks huge, but it's way more detailed and animated than it's ever been before. From here, you select where you want to spawn on the map. You'll be limited to your squad mates, capture points or certain vehicles, and which loadout you want to take. And even more so than before, the later choice rests on how you want to play the game. Do you want to be a tank busting badass? That's the assault class. Machine gun wielding tank mechanic? That's support. Or you can be a healer or a long range damage dealer by selecting the medic or sniper class respectively. As well as dictating which gadgets and abilities you have, your class also dictates which weapons you have access to. During this hands-on experience, I mostly played as the assault class. It's absolutely epic getting up close to and personal to your enemies. But you can choose between a shotgun and 2 different submachine guns as well as your primary. Customization of your weapons, scopes, attachments, colors and more is also available on the screen, but of course it's locked in the beta. Once finally dropped into this action, one thing is immediately clear. This game is stunning. Whether spawning in on the edge of a valley on the map and the scene below just breathtaking, planes doing strafing runs, tanks and armored cars barreling over hills, squads of soldiers sprinting from building to building with bullets and shelling landing all around them. It seems clear to me that Battlefield 1 is capable of producing the most visceral, realistic and exciting Battlefield gaming's ever seen. Let's just hope all of the maps are up to the same standard of these 2 maps. And also, let's hope that console versions get some of the way towards looking as good as the PC build I played. Having spent far too long admiring the scene, I'd always lose my squad mates, and as I pegged it towards a farmhouse next to a capture point, was quickly torn to shreds by an enemy squad. Life in Battlefield 1 can be very short without your squad, so this is just a little tip in this review, just make sure you play with friends. As the game goes on, you begin to use more weapons. The guns in Battlefield 1 are a far cry from the ultra-modern firearms of the last few games in the series, and they feel pretty analog and comparatively inaccurate as a result. They are also somewhat more brutal and tangible, and they sound utterly superb. DICE has once again put in a huge amount of effort into producing sound effects that are bombastic and realistic. Speaking of brutality, Battlefield 1 includes a new bayonet charge move that's hard to pull off and horribly violent when you do. If you're sprinting in the direction of your enemy, a press of the melee button puts you in a charge. Make contact with your enemy and you put them down with a nasty stab to the guts. Not nice, but it's certainly effective. The vehicles in Battlefield 1 actually seem to handle much better than they have in previous Battlefield series. And while that's pretty unrealistic, it does make them great fun to drive. As I raced through fields and over hills, smashing through the occasional fence, I realized that my truck had 4 mounted weapon points and that my squad had spawned to my vehicle and were operating them. We were now a deadly mobile weapons platform, and so began a good 5 minutes of team domination as we raced from point to point, conquering objectives and laying waste to the enemy soldiers foolish enough to get in our way. What ended this blissful run of a form? A blimp. Yes, a huge gas-filled monstrosity blistering with weapons. This is one of the 3 behemoth class vehicles in the game. There are also battleships and armored trains like you can have in the beta now. And nothing can prepare you for the sight of it looming above you, next to you or in front of you. And if you've noticed it too late, then there's not a lot you can do to escape the barrage of artillery fire that it's undoubtedly about to send in your general direction. I certainly tried to drive my plucky squad out of danger, but we were caught in a deluge and our faithful truck, all of its occupants were toast, with nothing but huge craters in our wake. That's right, craters. Battlefield's famed and occasionally maligned destruction engine is back, and it is way more impressive than ever before. Instead of feeling like a fixed indestructible map with a few objects and buildings that can be damaged or destroyed, Battlefield's one map feels entirely destructible. Basically, if you think it should collapse, explode, shatter or fall down, it probably will. This destructibility isn't just for show either. It can change tactics, and you can use new craters for cover or destroy walls to get better shots at your enemies. While it didn't happen in my game, I've seen footage of a flaming blimp landing on and flattening an entire village in a spectacular map-changing fashion. Whilst only playing on one map in this open beta and having played more than 10 hours, this game is absolutely amazing. This is my final verdict for Battlefield 1's open beta. There's a lot that can change in the time of the release. There might be lots of new features added or removed, but most likely not as we're near the end of its cycle. Now, Battlefield 1 is an amazing game to play with your friends. Whether you're playing by yourself or with friends, it's absolutely amazingly fun. I love this game. I think it's going to be really great on launch, but of course there are things that we can't be certain about. But I mean, think about it. If I could play more than 10 hours in a couple of days on one single map in this beta, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it, and I've basically not even explored the whole map because it's that big, I'm sure this game's going to be stunning. So with that, I'm giving Battlefield 1 open beta 8.5 out of 10 as my final verdict. Guys, I'm a TotalWar strategy YouTuber. I really hope you like this video. It took a lot of editing. Of course, make sure to play the beta before you buy the game. It ends on the 8th. You can download it on Origin, PlayStation Store and Xbox. And I hope you all enjoy. Check out my other Battlefield videos and TotalWar videos, COD, Helpfull Keywords, all that jazz. And I'll see you all later. Bye bye.